Hello class, this is for Algebra 1, Chapter 13, Section 11. We're talking about Pythagorean triplets today. It's actually a very simple concept. Let's get to it. So, there are special groups of numbers, of whole numbers, that if you put them together, they will show you whether or not something is a right triangle or not. And this is what I mean. Let's say I gave you three numbers, like, I don't know, 3, 4, and 5. And let's say I said they were the lengths of each side of a triangle. So one side is 3 inches, one side is 4 inches, one side is 5 inches. The question I'm going to ask you is, do the sides make a right triangle? That's the only question I'm asking you. Do these three numbers, when you put them together, do they make a right triangle? Just to remind ourselves, a right triangle is any triangle that has a 90-degree angle. We have 30, 60, 30, 60, 90 triangles. We also have triangles that are, that's more of a 45, 45, 40, 90, but anyway, that's not what we're talking about. We also have 45 degree, 90 degree special triangles, special right triangles, excuse me. So all I'm asking you is, does 3, 4, and 5, if you put those together, will they make a right triangle? Well, there's a simple way to figure this out. All you need to do is use the Pythagorean theorem. And as we know, the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So what you do is you take, hopefully they gave the numbers to you in the right order. You take the first number, and our first number is 3. I substitute the a. So it's a squared, which is 3 squared. Then I take the second number and I turn that into b. My second number is 4, so I replace the b with a 4. I have my equal sign, and my third number is 5, and I replace the c with a 5, and I make it 5 squared. Now I just do the simple math. 3 squared is 3 times 3, plus 4 squared is 4 times 4, equals 5 squared, which is 5 times 5. I break it down. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 plus 4 times 4 is 16. 5 times 5 is 25. All right. Now what I do is I simply finish it up. Does 9 plus 16 equal 25? Well, 9 plus 16 is in fact 25. So 25 does in fact equal 25. If both sides of the equation come out balanced and true like this, you can say yes. These numbers create a right triangle. Oh, let me move this so you can see. Yes, these numbers create a right triangle. 3, 4, and 5, if you put them into the Pythagorean theorem, will come out balanced on both sides of the equation. Therefore, they're a right triangle. It's as simple as that. Let's try another one. If I gave you the numbers 4, 10, and 12, and let's say it's 4 feet, 10 feet, and 12 feet, would these numbers create a right triangle? All I need to do again is use the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. And some of you might be asking, how do I know which one's the a, which one's the b, which one's the c? Well, remember, in both cases of our 45 degree, 90, and in our 30, 60, 90, with a short leg, a long leg, well, that's the hypotenuse, and a long leg. Hypotenuse is always opposite the 90-degree angle. the short leg is always opposite 30 degrees, and the longer leg, or the medium-sized leg, is always opposite 60 degrees. Well, if the hypotenuse must be the longest, right, I must assume, therefore, that whatever number they give me might be the hypotenuse, if we're assuming that it's going to come out to be balanced on both sides. We don't know that yet. But if it is going to be a right triangle, the longest measurement, 12 feet in this case, has to be the hypotenuse, because the hypotenuse is always going to be the longest edge of a triangle. So that's how I determine the hypotenuse. How do I determine the short leg and the long leg? Well, I mean, just logically, 4 feet is the shortest, so I imagine that would go here. And 10 feet is medium, so it would go here. Now, do I know if it's a 30, 60, 90 triangle? No, I don't know that. All I'm saying is if we do the math and it turns out that both sides of the equation for this Pythagorean theorem are true, well, then that's how the sides would measure out. You'd have a short side, a medium side, and the hypotenuse. Make sense? Okay, so again, what do? I have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And a quick note, let me just finish with this. If it's a 45, 45, 90, I have to know that since both angles are the exact same measure, their sides are also going to be the exact same measure. So whatever this 45 degrees side would be, let's say it's, I don't know, x, well, it's the same measure on the other side, so both sides would have to be equal, and then your hypotenuse, oh, I have forgotten what the relationship is, but the hypotenuse would be something else. So that's just a note for how I determine what's the A, the B, and the C. Anyway, let's finish up. I substitute A for 4. I substitute the second longest for 10. And then the hypotenuse is 12. All right, let's break it down. 4 squared is 4 times 4, plus 10 squared is 10 times 10, equals 12 squared, which is 12 times 12. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 10 times 10 is 100, equals 12 times 12 is 144. I already can see it's not going to work. 16 plus 100 is 116 feet. And 144 feet. Look at that, 116 does not equal 144 feet. Therefore, this is not a right triangle. And these are not Pythagorean triples. Not a right triangle. Okay, let's do one more. And I'm going to change the colors up. And let's see if this one is a right triangle. Do these represent the measurements of a right triangle? So my measurements are 5 feet plus 12 feet plus 13 feet. Okay, I'm going to remove this plus because that's not what we were talking about. That was a brain fart. And replace it with an equal sign. Remember, I need to use the Pythagorean theorem, which says a squared, let's change the color here, plus b squared. Why don't I just clean this up for you? Does it equal whatever my c squared is? Oh, my pen has stopped working. 1 second. Please forgive me. There we go, got it back. Nope, sorry. All right, so there's my A, there's my B, there's my C. Let's substitute the numbers in. I've got 5 squared plus 12, oh geez, plus 12 squared equals 13 squared. So let's do the math on this. That's going to be 5 times 5. I'm just going to keep it blue for a second so I don't have to keep switching. 5 times 5 is 25. All right. Plus 12 squared is 12 times 12. 12 times 12 is 144. And then we have 13 squared, which is 13 times 13. 13 times 13 in all places in the universe is 169. Let me clean up this side over here. What is 125 plus 44? Well, 140 plus 25. 5 and 4 is 9. 4 and 2 is 6. 1 and 0 is 1. So 169, does that equal 169? Yes, it does. Hot dog and a biscuit. So because both sides are balanced in the Pythagorean theorem, we have a right triangle. 5, 12, and 13 create a right triangle because when you plug them into a squared plus b squared equals c squared, they do create balanced numbers and values on both sides of the Pythagorean theorem. Therefore, you've got yourself a right triangle. All right, hopefully that helps. We will see you in the next video. Make sure you stay right. It's good stuff.